Got a secret, can you keep it? Swear this one you'll save. Better lock it in your pocket, taking this one to the grave.
Reaching prom was like, it was like our graduation. We knew once we made it to the prom episode that like high school was done.
Obviously the prom for the PLLs is a little different than a lot of the other, normal proms.
They go all out. It's like wild. You get lost. It's almost like Alice in Wonderland.
It was so pretty. It was kind of like a Grimm's fairy tale. It was very dark, but beautiful at the same time.
Everything that they did was so phenomenal when it came to like the smallest detail.
I think it's important to finally get these characters to the prom because it's probably the single most significant moment in a high school girl's life.
We've been talking about prom for years on this show, and we've done so many fantastic thematic big dances that we felt like prom had to be so special and so magical, and we hadn't really landed on what the theme should be.
The concept of the prom is this enchanted forest.
We started looking at pictures, fairy tale book pictures, and if you Google hunting, Grimm's fairy tale images, all these great pictures come up.
Whenever we have events, I'm always A, blown away, and B, wonder how much money is floating around Rosewood, because when I had my prom, I for sure did not have servers like walking around serving like whatever juice they were serving.
It's a place of dark shadows. It's a place of branches that reach out to you and leaves and small hills and little places where you can hide.
Wanted to be the leafless forms and trees that were almost people-like, that were backlit. We wanted a haze behind everything, behind which was more light, so we could get as much eerie moving things. And as you move between the different levels of trees back there, you almost see shapes and shadows that could be people, could be the trees.
We wanted something that had dark corners and caves and, different areas and levels.
There's a maze in there, and it's where actually A traps Allison.
It was funny because it was only like as big as this room, and we had to like make it like it was a maze. So it was just a lot of like running up and down like little rats.
We always have A's, the letter A everywhere, and there was an A in branches. And I had one fan notice it that I saw on my feed that was like, did you see the A?
My personal favorite details in the set were the lanterns that dropped into the middle of the dance floor. We found a couple hundred of the lanterns that they use in Inception, and we dropped those at varying different heights in the dance floor. There was a giant hourglass in the middle of the set that we were trying really hard to maintain the continuity of.
We always have a ticking clock, and usually it's a giant clock.
And playback.
And it felt really fun to do something that was a ticking clock without being a giant clock. Whether it's consciously or subconsciously, the fans know time is running out, time is running out.
It was an actual 4-hourglass, and we tried to maintain the continuity throughout by flipping that 8-foot monster back and forth, and even laying it on its side till we're ready to roll.
All right, rehearsal.
And every time it took 4 guys to lay it down, pick it back up at the right time so that that level would stay the same.
When you look at the selection of costumes for the girls, you'll see something we do every time we do an event, which is basically we want the costumes to reflect certain aspects of their personalities.
Mandy Line had thought about each girl being designed sort of within her own tale.
My outfit was an homage to Snow White. I'm sure a lot of people picked up on that. Some people were like, wow, Aria just really went for it. But it was sort of a modern twist on, a classic fairy tale. So her dress was floral, and then you couldn't see, but the rings had little birds on them.
For me, it was the Little Mermaid. It was a lot darker. I had to wear these insane rings because I said I wanted all my jewelry to look like I just kind of like dragged my hands along the bottom of the ocean, like a fisherman's trawl, and just kind of come up with it was crazy, like lava rocks and obsidian and coral, and then these giant bands that kind of were like Wonder Woman copper plates. So that was really fun. She really let me kind of push that envelope, you know, and I wanted to have like seashells in my hair and like I wanted to have like sea nets and like all these kind of crazy things. The only unfortunate thing is it wasn't like a single look. It was like, you're gonna be in this for 4 weeks because the adventure just continues. So they were like, be careful with what you choose because you're gonna be in it for a while.
Emily's character was, in my eyes, was sort of like Maleficent.
Am I supposed to know these people?
No, you're just supposed to be looking at their outfits. It was a very structured dress with high shoulder pads, and we had this beautiful crown that weighed a lot. All these hand jewelries that were actually very interesting. They were rings, but they sat on top of the knuckles. And I mean, it was quite a process. Every time before we were to get on set, you know, I had to put all of these finger rings on individually and make sure my crown was on, and these earrings were so heavy, so they actually had to build this little sort of contraption where it hooked around my ear and didn't just go in my earlobe, otherwise it would have pulled it out.
Ashley was Sleeping Beauty.
I wore this beautiful white gown and it had all these sequins and diamonds and everything all over it.
I loved Ashley's dress, but I mean, I'm all about sparkle and glitz, and shinier the better, so she definitely had that dress, and her makeup was beautiful as well.
I had just seen Mad Max, and I was like, I want to look like Charlize, so we did that. And then as far as the hair, I was like, I would just want to do like a fun, messy braid updo, and Kim made a whole headpiece for the braid. It wasn't even my hair.
Everybody just looked so amazing.
When I finally saw the prom in its final cut, it was beautiful. It was everything we had imagined. It was everything that we had spent months and months of careful thought and planning on.
I think the prom episode was amazing. I think that those big episodes require every department to bring their A game, and they did. It was the music and the props in the art department and the costumes. It all comes together in a way that you can see what a great team we have here at Pretty Little Liars.
It came out better than we could have imagined.
Once we put on those prom dresses, it was just like, wow, we've done it. We're finally here.